Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's product review video, we are testing out the Pelsee P1 Pro 4K dash cam. Let's go check it out. Right off the bat, this is a slick looking package. Opening this up is an absolute pleasure. You guys have clearly spent some time trying to design this, making it a good user experience. In the box, you're gonna find the front facing camera with a 4K sensor, the rear facing camera with 1080p, and the cables and power supply required to connect them, plus a couple of other little bits and pieces, which I'm not actually using right now for this review. Anyways, the two features I'm really excited about on this package are the Sony Starvis 2 4K sensor and the night vision on the front-facing camera. Some of the footage I've seen online looks fantastic. We're going to record some and we're going to see whether we can get the same results. The really neat thing with the P1 Pro package is that it has the rear-facing camera as well. So it's simultaneously recording the front and the back. Now I have to admit, my immediate reaction when I received this package was this would be fantastic for the Sprinter because it is a work vehicle and it spends more time on the road than any of the rest of my cars. Plus its sheer size causes a lot of issues on the road in tight spaces where you may want to have some evidence as to who's really at fault for what happens. And I have to admit something else. When I saw a rear view camera, I just assumed this thing is for reversing. And based on that, when I saw the rear view camera for the first time, I thought this was just a very silly design because it's designed to be mounted on the rear windshield, okay? Not on the outside of the vehicle like pretty much any other rear view camera, but on the inside of the windshield. In fact, you can even see it's powered by USB-C at the back here, which is not weather protected in any way. So you couldn't use this on the outside of your vehicle, which unfortunately automatically killed that application because I have nowhere to put this on the back of the Sprinter where it would actually work. Okay, so this is designed for a car. You stick it on the back of the windshield and it sits inside of the chassis. This is not protected from the environment. Yeah, it took me about a minute to realize this is not a backup camera, right? It has no connection for the reverse lights, so it will not turn on as you're reversing. In fact, you'll record all the time along with the front-facing camera. So in the case of a collision, you will have the front and the back footage. So for example, if you hit somebody and somebody hits you from behind, you can see exactly how everything played out. So for that purpose, the camera is fantastic. For my purpose of actually having a backup camera on the Sprinter, not so much. But this is not what this product is designed to do. Anyways, now that we've established what the camera can and cannot do, let's talk about the installation. You do not need to read the manual to get this thing sorted out. You've got two cables which are joined together by the camera interface. Both cameras are powered by the USB through the lighter. The rear camera cable is quite lengthy. You're not going to run out of cable here. And you've got quite a lot of cable for the front-facing camera as well. Both cameras are designed to be stuck to the windshields front and back, so front and back. So you just peel the 3M sticker here and pop the camera right on your windshield. Now the front camera is designed to be removable, so you don't leave it on your windshield and get your car broken into so somebody can grab your camera. So you can just slide it off and it comes right off of the mount. To power it up, USB goes in the base and the base goes somewhere on your windshield. Here's probably the only negative comment I've got about this. This is quite messy. Now the camera is designed to go on your windshield, as you can see. The cables go in the top of the camera. So you've got these cables sort of, you've got to figure something out with these because this one has to go down to the power. So you've got this big bunch of cable here. And this one has to go all the way to the back windshield. So I'm not really sure what car these could potentially work cleanly in, but I think in most setups, you're gonna end up with a lot of cable just kind of hanging out in your sort of cockpit and really kind of in your way. So, I mean, you could try and route this up around and do all sorts of things, but this is designed to be powered by the USB, which is at the bottom here. On most cars, it'll be around here somewhere. So there's going to be a lot of cable in your line of sight. And there's not much you can really do about that, unfortunately. Now, imagine if you didn't really want to use the rear view camera and you wanted to just get away with a USB power on the front, you could probably get rid of most of these and have a much shorter cable that's just powered up and hidden around somewhere. But as it sits with the rear view camera, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of cables kind of, all over the place. Rear view camera, same thing, USB just goes in the back, pretty straightforward. Now the rear view camera does rotate, so once you stick it on the rear windshield, you can figure out where it's supposed to go. Pretty easy. Now, for a dash cam, generally speaking, you're not going to be looking at this. It's just recording the footage. So once you set it up, you just kind of leave it there. It's recording the footage as you're driving, and that's it. The camera does come with Wi-Fi. So you can go get the Pelsee app, access the camera, and you can see the footage. Now, to be honest, I'm not really sure what the functionality of this is because, as you can imagine, the Wi-Fi is not going to run very far, and the phone's likely going to be with you in the car as you're driving around. So while the camera is recording the footage, you can see it on your phone, but that's not really all that useful. You can, however, download the videos and the photographs directly onto your phone, which would be very, very useful. This is also displaying the sort of GPS information that you cannot see with the camera. And as I said, you can access the images and the pictures directly on the camera, and you can download them up as required. All right, before we actually go test this out on the road, let's take a look at some of the menu options and some of the features of the camera. There's a few that I'd like to touch up on before we install this permanently in the car. All right, so from the actual screen of the camera, this is the front. We've got a couple of buttons on the side here, We've got, if we press the top button here, it switches between the front and the rear cameras. So in the menu here, you've got playback, camera, and system settings. Playback is pretty self-explanatory, but if we go down to camera, you can do quite a few things here, from changing the resolution, the loop recordings, audio recording, timestamp, etc. A couple of interesting ones for the G sensor. Specifies the sensitivity of the sensor inside the camera. It has a couple of settings from low, medium, high, and off. This specifies the sensor sensitivity for collision. So when the sensitivity is high, it's going to lock the video for a minor collision. When the sensitivity is low, it's going to lock the video for a heavy collision. If it's off, basically it's not going to lock the video for any of them. That's pretty neat. If we keep going down, the parking guard, time lapse, and frames per second settings are all related to the camera being hardwired into the car. You can basically set it up as a recorder even when the car is parked, and it will continue to play. This, of course, is going to be draining your car battery while the car is parked. So unless you really require it, this is not something that's going to work. The last two are a bit interesting. Mirror and flip allows you to flip the image of the rear view camera. Now, this is key because in my last review of the CarPod Go, I mentioned that the ability to flip the rear view camera is quite essential to allow you to install the camera in a variety of different ways. So here it is right there. It's a software function, as it should be in any one of these systems, because you want to allow the user to flip the image to give them the freedom to install the camera in any shape or form. So this is very good. The problem with this particular setting is that it doesn't actually show you the image when you're selecting this. So it does flip the image. The problem is that you have to select it, go back in the main screen, check the rear view camera. Okay, is this good? Yeah, and then you can come back and check it. Ideally, this should have been a split screen where you can see the image and then select the option for splitting it so that you can actually see what you're doing rather than just kind of, guess. The last menu, which is the advanced driver assistance function, gives you control to a bunch of different things, including forward collision warning, lane departure warning, pedestrian collision warning, etc. You can turn them on and off selectively, or you can select all of them to enable them all. Now, this also allows you to calibrate the camera, which will request for you to line up the horizon and the center of the vehicle so that you can do that. We're going to try and test these out on the road once we get the camera in the car. Under the system settings, not a whole lot of exciting stuff. Most of the stuff is self-explanatory, from the Wi-Fi band, the date format, dates, times, etc. Voice control is pretty interesting. This does have voice control, and obviously on and off if you want to enable it. But if you go to the next menu, which is the voice commands, we have lock video, turn off display, show front camera, turn off recording, take picture, open screen, show rear camera, open recording. All very valuable functions, and I already played with a couple of them. They do work quite well. So as you're driving, you can use these voice commands to take pictures, change the screen, flip the cameras, etc. Quite useful. Right, it's a bit hard to actually show you the camera in action because, just where it's positioned, it's hard to really film it. We're going to take a look at some of the footage once I go home, but I wanted to point out a couple of cool things. It does what it's supposed to do. The voice commands work quite well. The footage is good. The driver assistance system is also working quite well. One thing I do have a bit of a fun time with, and I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but the voice commands are slightly random. So for example, to turn on the screen of the camera, you have to say open screen, and to turn off the screen of the camera, you have to say turn off display. So it's open screen and turn off display. you would imagine these would be somewhat related to each other, but they're not. So it's not turn on display and turn off display, and it's not open screen or close screen. It's open screen, turn off display. But they do work quite well. So watch this. Open screen. Turn off display. Open screen. Show rear camera. Show front camera.
The front camera's view is displayed.
So all this to say that the voice commands are actually quite good, even though they're certainly the open screen and turn off display are a little bit entertaining, to be completely honest. So in any case, I'm gonna drive around. Let's see if we can get some footage so we can take a look at the quality. And the last thing I really want to check this is the camera footage at night. So we're gonna have to go play with this when it gets dark. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to check was the night vision function of the camera, and I'll be honest with you, this is quite impressive. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is a very, very clear image. It's quite good considering I can't see anything with this camera, right? So this is what we're seeing. That's my 190 right in front of it. This camera cannot see anything. That's how dark it is. Wow. Yeah, the night vision is definitely impressive. That's it for this one, folks. The Pelsee is a great little package if you're in the market for a dash camera. The front camera sensor is absolutely phenomenal. The footage is 4K. You show the night footage. I'm quite impressed considering my GoPro obviously is absolutely nothing in the dark. This is quite a good setup. It does have a few quirks, if you will. The menu is a little bit odd to use. The cables are a bit of a mess, as you saw in the video. And as well, you cannot download the footage directly off the camera. You gotta have to pop the card out of the camera and put it in a laptop, or else download the footage onto your phone and then get it from the phone to the laptop or whatever you're processing with. That's a bit inconvenient. I'm not really sure why that is. Usually, if you're able to connect to the USB on your laptop, you should be able to just download the footage. But that's neither here nor there. The quality of the video is really what matters in a dash cam. So if you're in the market for one, this one's gonna deliver. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.